to start, who knows what this is?
Isn't this the plate that we send out on the
Excellent.
space?
Who we are and where we are. And it's based upon some basic scientific information like carbon, I think the frequency of the hydrogen atom, our position relative to different stars. And it is not easy to communicate to somebody that doesn't know your language. And what I'm proposing is that we try to do this in industrial language. There's a piece of a movie that I'd like to show you here.
Detection of an unidentified radio source from deep space can neither be confirmed nor denied.
Whatever it is, it ain't local.
Position?
I checked interferometry somewhere in Lyra, I think.
Vega?
Can't be. It's only 26 light years away.
I want all these people out of here. Your having sent this announcement all over the world may well constitute a breach of national security.
This isn't a person-to-person call. This may be an announcement to get our attention.
The president's called an emergency meeting.
You know those interlaced frames that we thought were noise? This has structure.
I'm going to recommend to the president that we militarize this project immediately.
There's no reason to believe that their intentions are hostile.
There's no proof of that.
Why don't they just speak English?
Mathematics is the only truly universal language, Senator. Buried within the message itself is the key to decoding it.
Those look like engineering schematics, almost like blueprints.
It is our belief that the message contains instructions for building some kind of machine.
A machine?
It might turn out to be some kind of a transport.
Transport. The fact
Mathematics is the only true universal language. And what this foreign intelligence did was to send us the plans to make a machine that would allow us to transport ourselves through time and space to where they were. Imagine if we had to do this today. How would we communicate our industrial knowledge to somebody, to an extraterrestrial intelligence? What we're proposing is not just a standard, but a standard that will persist in time. And amazingly, we're all technologists that have to thank the military for the survivability and the standards that were incorporated in the basic TCP/IP transport. This was a protocol that was developed specifically to be survivable and to connect disparate machines all over the world. And what I see is the richness of all the proposals of Modelica and the other ones that have been presented. But we have to take a step back and start to think about how to communicate this knowledge in a way that will persist for decades. Because otherwise, we're continuously reinventing the wheel. The elegance, and not necessarily the most efficient, system allows us to communicate today worldwide without having to worry about all of the hardware that underlies our systems. And if we give sorry, I'm blocking you here. If we start a very quick historical background and we go back to CAD systems, so we started with 3D, we go to 4D, which is adding the time element. 5D for many industrial processes, and I come from the oil and gas and energy sector, adds cost information and planning like Primavera and other cost systems so that complex projects can be done on time and within budget. But what we're proposing is moving up this ladder. 6D is an object which is smart, which is independent of other objects. It has all of the characteristics it needs to be self-defined, just like that message that we sent on the Viking or that they sent to us. But this goes to the next level, and this is what I call 7D. Actual sentient systems that are so well defined that they are going to be readable by software of the future. So that if we agree on systems that are well defined now, oil and gas refineries, buildings, airplanes of the future will be able to be enhanced, maintained, because, for example, and General Electric already does this with predicts, a typical jet engine produces several megabytes of data, and some produce more than that, but all of this data is analyzed in a big data system, and a jet engine is comparing itself to its other jet engines that are flying at that time, and any outlying values, without any programming, are already identified as possible problems with that jet engine in real time. These are self-diagnosing, intelligent, sentient systems. And when I say also 6D, and you see the person there, we have to not forget about people that are in these systems as well. They are just as important as any actuator or electronic control unit. We also have to identify, track, and describe the persons, the people that are within these complex systems. And we are facing a data tsunami with the IoT flood that is going to start to integrate with all of our complex systems. We simply are going to consider that all businesses will be data businesses by the year 2022. But we live in a wondrous age. If this could be considered like the Renaissance, because we live at the intersection of technologies that did not even exist maybe 5-10 years ago, that now we can access and even use for free. And these are big data, video gaming, and telecommunications. You might say, he must be off his rocker. Video gaming, why is this so important? Because it allows us to visualize complex images in 3D in real time. And the computational requirements that video game software uses is now outstripping those that are used by typical engineers in design. And yet, kids are them to play. Many have talked about BIM. And in this moment, we're sort of around here. We're still arguing about models and collaboration, but when we get to this point here, where we have an integrated model with interoperable data, using ISO standards, we will truly harness the power of these technologies that are so new that we haven't even really realized the power that they have. And this is a soup of all the standards that are in different areas: defense, oil and gas, this is the building environment, and space. We may define a bolt in aerospace differently from a bolt in oil and gas. That is crazy. We should be able to, obviously, given it's not the same bolt, but it should be described in a way that would be standard. And this is an image of this combination of technologies that is now starting to coalesce. I can obviously send this presentation to anybody who's interested if you talk to me after, and we have our demo here also at the show.
This demonstration shows that our system has taken the output from Intergraph's smart plant and imported it directly into a MongoDB database. The MongoDB database has received the information in the IFC XML format. Once this information is in the big data, it can be edited, appended to, updated, etc. The next step is to output this information to the Unity video rendering system.
This is a crude example of what I'm talking about. It's the data travel from a existing 3D model to big data, and then it can be rendered in Unity or in web graphics. And there are many companies that are trying to do this, to combine all of these different standards. These are all from the building area. But essentially what they're trying to do is mash together existing software. Instead of actually moving up the theoretical ladder and actually making the data consistent among all the platforms. And we're forgetting about the people. We talk about complex systems, but the most complex part of any system is the human that operates it. And these people are going to be in fewer and fewer we're going to have fewer of these people. I actually have a company that hires engineers. We have 200 people that we assign to our clients, and we're having trouble finding qualified personnel. These systems are more and more complex, and what we need is a way to make sure that we have qualified people. And this is also our evolution in CAD, for going from paper drawings to CAD systems to production systems that are in the field, like this one. But we're going towards augmented reality tools, and we have people that are using systems like these. These are the video game interfaces. This is what our workers of the future are training on. And these are also collaboration games where we're doing simulation and interaction among people. There's contests. You know that video gaming is a bigger business than music and movies combined already. This is Sim City. Sorry. So what we're proposing is moving towards this people-centric technology where the people are incorporated into the system. And what we have here is a demo, which you can see outside. We've imported this refinery into a video game environment, but this is obviously a demo, but the idea is that every single part is stored in a big data database so that you can drill down on any part and you get all of its birth information. But this is a real-time supervised review. I can also drill down on the people that are involved in this project, and when a problem occurs in this refinery, here we're simulating in red, we dispatch the person who is qualified and nearby. We communicate with that person about the problem. They are informed on their smartphone about the problem, and they're dispatched. This is them going towards the point of view from that person. And once they're in front of the problem, using a telepresence camera, which we're showing today, called IB, the person can communicate in real time with somebody, an expert that's remote. They decide what part needs to be ordered. That system gets automatically requested, and the problem gets fixed. And those people that are in the system are scanned, not because it looks cute, but because it gives us more security about the people that are collaborating in this virtual world from many parts of the world. and they can actually recognize their companions because they've been scanned. So we have, these are all systems, augmented reality, virtual reality, all working together using, this is a R7 ODG, but it could be a HoloLens or a Meta. The point is that it's a collaborative work environment that combines technology, people, and standards. The standards allow the marketplace, the suppliers of these parts, to do the work for us because they have the most incentive to document their parts precisely. And then, of course, we're connecting to the major design suites because we don't want to create a proprietary system. We want to create an open standard, but properly secured with blockchain around the sensitive information so that the parts that are, for example, a jet engine manufacturer may not want to share the geometry of their fan blade, so that part could be completely protected. Okay, 5 more? Okay, no, I'm fine. And then the important thing is that by properly documenting these parts as they're born, they're assembled, they're constructed, they're maintained, and then they're disposed of, we have a cradle-to-grave system that allows us to use that information that was used in the design for the maintenance of the project. Nowadays, airplanes are being maintained, but the logs are grease-stained logs from mechanics because the leasing companies don't trust paperless maintenance. And when they sell the airplanes, the leasing companies want the box with the paper maintenance records to go along with it. This is something that we should improve on. And what we're talking about is not reinventing the wheel, but rather using existing standards. That's why I'm so excited about Modelica, because it's an open standard, it's been around for 20 years or more, and it makes sense because by simulating these physical systems and integrating with a variety of different tools, we create this long-term intelligence. For example, Smart 3D is an Intergraph product, but it could be also Aviva, it could be Bentley. The point is that we import those models into big data using XML ISO standards, and then we create the collaborative platform with Unity Web Graphics or whatever rendering engine we'll have at that moment. The point is that the data stays the same. The rendering might be holographic. We might have a fantastic immersive experience in the future, but the data remains the same, and we simply display it in other systems that we'll have in the future. And we do no heavy lifting. The suppliers are going to generate all of the information about the parts we're going to use, and so designers will simply put parts together like an adult version of Lego. I just said that. In fact, I have a meeting with Lego later this week because we're hoping that they might see this as a way for them to move into new areas of interest. And although we have an engineering company and we're well-funded and this is what's incubating TalentSwarm, we're actually thinking more about partnering with companies and universities that have the knowledge and the intention to create a system like this. In Spain, where we are, there's a company that specializes in big data, but most of their work comes from banks, and we think it should be coming from the essence of our culture, which is math and engineering. And we also, of course, work with video game companies because the rendering of these complex systems in fun, innovative ways is actually going to make our future employees want to work with us. Because truly, I don't think anybody gets up in the morning and says, I really want to open 50 Excel spreadsheets and update 14 columns. But I can see somebody saying, all right, I'm gonna go into a virtual world, I'm gonna collaborate with my friends in the field, at the job site, in other offices. We're all gonna work together, they're going to see me, quote unquote, I'm going to see them, and we're going to actually work together as a tribe of knowledge workers. This is a whole new way of working. And like I said, this is our parent company, Dynatech. It's been around for 40 years, and what we do is we basically rent talented individuals to other engineering companies. We started providing engineers for Bechtel when they built the nuclear power plant in Spain, in Tarragona, and we currently have about 200 people. About half of them are still at the nuclear power plant providing assistance. And that's our story. Our ask, as an American, I'm half American, half Spanish, they always say you have to end with an ask. And what is my ask? My ask is that any companies and universities, private, public, companies that are interested in this vision, to please contact us to work together, because we feel that working together in a collaborative way, we can truly make a system that could one day actually provide that image that I showed you at the beginning, that we could actually imagine defining an entire nuclear power plant in a capsule, so that somebody who had never seen one before could actually build it. That would, just like we keep seeds in frozen places underground in case something happens to humanity, imagine how much knowledge would be lost because we would not have documented our technology of today. And well, I'm open for questions, and yes?
It's kind of a philosophical question, but how do you see the robotics here in the 7D?
The robotics are simply one more element of the system.
But then instead of having us as players of this 7D, you think that these devices and future software that can analyze these devices will be somehow these robotic systems?
You have to see that the robots are just going to be one more element, one more player in this choreographed, complex environment. If you look at a video game, you have robots and you have humans. So they're just one more player, one more element. There could be drones that could be autonomous or controlled. So the idea is that if we describe those elements correctly, in real time, and we can visualize them in ways, and we can visualize them in ways that make it intuitive to interact, the complexity can grow almost exponentially, because we're talking about a collaborative system. So thousands of people can be working at the same time on the same system, and they can see what the others are doing. That's the intelligence that comes from the swarm. I didn't show it, but I have some videos of animals that collaborate, like birds or sharks or fish, to protect themselves against predators or to hunt together. And when you see these starlings in England swarming together, they don't do that because they're being friendly. It's because by flying together, they avoid the hawks from hunting them, because if the hawks were to dive into the flock, they would break their wings. So collaboration, even though it might be a little bit démodé in this moment, really is, I think, the future of engineering.